Alright, in this demonstration I'm going to show you how to use Filezilla to transfer your files from localhost to the remote class server. Okay, so when you open Filezilla up for the first time, it's going to look something like this. It's going to be a little bit different for people on a Windows computer because of what's going to be on the left side. Your directory pathways for your local computer are going to look a little differently, but basically the interface is the same. So what you want to do here is, if you look on the left, what I have is I've got a list of all these things, all these files that are on my computer. And in Filezilla, you're going to be able to see things that normally you can't see on a Mac or Windows or whatever, because it's going to show you hidden files. So there are a bunch of things here. It might seem a little bit confusing to you, but just remember, if you're on Windows, you're going to go to the C drive, to the examp folder, and to htdocs. If you're on a Mac, you're going to go click on the root level of your computer, and you're going to go to Applications. And then you see down below in this bottom window, it shows you everything that's inside of the Applications folder. So you can either do a drop down for Applications up here and navigate to MAMP. Okay, so I've got a bunch of stuff on this computer. So I'm going to navigate to MAMP, and then you see it changes the contents over here. And then if I click here, I can go to htdocs, and then this is the contents of my htdocs, right? Right now there's nothing on the right because I'm not connected to a server, but what I've done is, so you don't have to watch me type, I've put in the server address here, which you can get out of Blackboard if you want, and I'm using the example student number of PHP student 048, and then there's the password, which you can get out of Blackboard. Port is 21 for normal FTP. We're not using secure FTP, we're just using normal. And then I'm just going to hit Quick Connect, and you see it pulls me up to the remote site. And what this / is doing is it's showing me the highest level of access that I have on that remote server. So right now you're connecting to the leekotner.com server, but of course you're not going to be putting leekotner.com up here because, as I think I mentioned in a previous discussion or lecture, this is a static IP address that you have to use instead of the name, and I won't go into why. It's about performance on the web server. Anyway, where it says remote site, you're going to see the /. That means it's the root level of your student directory. So in your case, it would be like the directory student 048, but you're not going to see the name is student 048 here. You're just going to see that it's the root level of your access. Okay, so if I click on that, you see down here, this is what we've got. Now this hidden file, this .htaccess file, it needs to stay put. You know, don't move that, don't delete it, just leave it there. It's the thing that allows you to see the list of your directory contents if you don't have an index file in there. So it's pretty important. And it's going to be really, really handy whenever you're taking this class. It's going to be a drag if you delete that. Okay? Okay, so transferring files is really simple now. Now that you've got the two parallel directories next to each other, you would just take everything that you want to put over there on the left, which is your local computer, drag it over to the right into the destination folder, and it's up there now. And I'm just going to scoot this over, or just move it down here, open a new Google page. Okay, and then I'm going to type in localhost. Right now this is the contents of my localhost, and I'm going to then go ahead and make yet another new window, put it side by side, and I'm going to go to the web address of student 048, or whatever your number happens to be, .leekotner.com, and these are parallel directories. One's on your local computer, the other one is up on the server, and you can tell the difference between the two different addresses here. Okay, and so whenever you're saving stuff on your computer, like your personal computer, it's going to be here. If you don't upload it, it's not going to show up here under student048.leekotner.com. I won't be able to grade it. I won't be able to troubleshoot it with you. So please don't even bother to ask me for specific kinds of help if you don't already have it up on the server for me to view. That's pretty much that. And so now, you know, if I were to go into dev, you could see that I should have all the same contents. my basic page, etc. Okay? And they generally should be the same. Every once in a blue moon there might be some difference in the version of PHP where there's a function that doesn't work quite exactly the same way as it does on your local computer, but generally that doesn't happen. Every once in a while it will, but generally it doesn't. So it's really important though, that's why you should always check it before you get too far involved. You should periodically put your files up there and make sure that all the trouble that you're going to, everything is still going to work up on your remote server. Okay, so and when you're done with your connection, you can go ahead and you can click this little red X, disconnect from the server, and in the future, one of the things that's kind of nice with Filezilla is, especially so you don't have to remember this 173 number, is that you can use this little quick connect drop down and you can choose a connection, and if we want to connect again, it'll connect up right up for me. Okay, and it usually will ask you if you want to save the password. I had already connected, and so that's why it didn't, and you can choose whether or not to save that password. I will say this: if you're on a public computer, do not save the password. And if you're on a public computer, go ahead here and clear the history, okay? I need you to do that because this is not the school server and anybody will have access to it and they can delete your files, they can do all sorts of nefarious things, so do not leave this in the history, okay? Make sure you always clear the history in a public space. Alright, that's going to do it for the demo.